Orbital mechanics is one of the most difficult branches of physics to understand, so it's no wonder that flat earthers get confused by it. DMarble of FE Offensive is one of the more prominent members of the flat earth community. However, I think it's simply him just not understanding things. In the video today, I'm hoping that I can help him understand things a little better. Link to D's original video in the description below, and remember, do not send any hate his way. It's just not needed.
In the discussion between flat versus globe, we often come across the explanation of gravity. Gravity is the glue, in my opinion, that holds this whole heliocentric model together. But another question that I'd like to ask about gravity concerns gravity and our moon. Now, the way that we're taught that gravity works here on Earth is that everything's being attracted to the center of the mass of the Earth. That's what causes people to walk upside down.
People don't walk upside down at all. This is a very common misconception from flat earthers. In space, there is no up, down, left, right, forwards, or backwards. In very, very lay terms, the Earth is in space and is subject to this directionlessness. Any experiments done on Earth are subject to gravity
On the underside of a spinning ball, and that's what causes these trillions of gallons of water to be able to conform to the outward exterior of this spinning ball Earth that we all supposedly live on.
Anything on the Earth, including the oceans, is subject to gravity. Well, it's subject to the mass of the Earth, and space-time curvature, and the atmospheric pressure, etc. But we'll keep it nice and simple.
Anyway, my question is, it kind of comes in two parts. The way that gravity works here on Earth seems to be different than the way that gravity works out in space. The way that it works on Earth is the whole, like I said, mass attracts mass. Everything's affected by the Earth's gravitational pull. Therefore, everything is being held down to the surface. Okay, fine. With the exception of bugs, smoke, clouds, helium balloons, hot air balloons, things like that. But I digress.
These are also affected by gravity. Without getting into too much detail and particle physics, it comes down to density and again, atmospheric pressure for smoke and clouds. Bugs can fly, as do birds and planes. Helium is a gas that is lighter than oxygen and nitrogen that make up our atmosphere, and simply floats. An easy way to look at it, now do not misinterpret this, is to think of the air as a liquid as well. The heavier liquids and objects sink towards the bottom, and the lighter liquids float towards the top. Now, the atmosphere is not a liquid, and this is just to help you understand it better. There is a height where the helium balloon will cease rising, as the atmospheric density is enough that the balloon itself is too heavy for the gas inside to lift any higher. Hot air balloons work on a similar principle, being that hot air rises, and the fabric of the balloon keeps the air heated, as well as the constant adding of heat by the pilot. Basically, it all boils down to buoyancy, or in even simpler terms, the floatiness of an object.
Now, out in space, the way that gravity works, it just causes objects to orbit around other things. See, in the heliocentric model of our solar system, all the planets are orbiting around the sun.
This is correct, and they are still subject to gravity. The sun isn't stationary, and this is important. All the planets, asteroids, and comets are falling towards the sun. Without getting too much into orbital mechanics, as it's quite hard to explain, the speed that planets are moving towards the sun is greater than the sun's speed through space, so they miss the sun every time they fall toward it. The same happens with all satellites in orbit around Earth.
Okay, now the Earth is said to be orbiting around the sun. Also, although we see video of what is obviously the sun making a circuit around the face of the earth.
This is a fantastic video, and without a source for it, I'm going to assume it was taken somewhere in the northern hemisphere during summer, probably in Norway, where they have what is called the midnight sun, and lasts for a couple of months. Film there outside of June through August, and you'll see the sunrise and set. This can happen as far south as Alaska and parts of Canada. On a side note, the opposite happens during winter, called the polar night.
But moving along, let's play Globey here. If you're a globe believer and you go with that model, you prescribe to the idea of gravity as it's been taught, then you also believe that the Earth is orbiting around the sun as well as all the other planets. Now, there are 5 planets that are beyond the Earth that are still orbiting around the sun due to the idea of being within the sun's gravitational pull. Those planets are Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. Now, according to the globe model, Jupiter is the largest planet in the solar system. It has a 272,967 mile circumference, and it's also large enough to hold 1,321 Earths inside it. Neptune is the planet that's farthest away from the sun in our solar system. It's said to be 2.793 billion miles away from the sun.
There is also the Kuiper Belt that is 30 to 50 AUs out. Poor Pluto always gets skipped. But do continue.
Now, I would have to ask the question, if the largest planet in our solar system, Jupiter, is subjected to the gravitational pull of the sun, if the planet that is farthest away from the sun, Neptune, is subjected to the gravitational pull of the sun and caused to orbit around it, why is it that our moon, which is hilariously smaller than Jupiter and way closer to the sun than Neptune, why is our moon not orbiting around the sun?
Well, it does. It orbits the Earth, which is orbiting the sun. However, as you mentioned, it is also about proximity. Gravity is a very weak but very powerful force. The moon is in fact very, very slowly moving away from the Earth at roughly a maximum of 4 centimeters a year. But this can vary depending on many factors, one of which is the sun.
What we understand in the flat earth community, the sun and the moon are what moves here. They make a clockwise circuit around the center, which is known as the North Pole. I even took a trip to Alaska last summer so I could get a time lapse of the sun doing just that. The sun starts at this orange pole, moves off around the mountains, comes back around this little hill, comes back through the sky, and there it is back at the orange pole. So, if we have 5 planets that are much larger and much further away from the sun than our moon, why is it that the moon doesn't orbit around the sun? As always, be good to each other, take care of yourself, and stay flat. I'll see you next time. Thank you.
That is an excellent sentiment. I do hope I helped you understand the mechanics behind the orbits of our star system just a little bit better. As always, folks, be respectful in the comments, and again, send no hate. It's simply not needed. Thank you all for watching. I hope that you too found this interesting and informative. As always, a special thank you to Purple Haze and Ghostface, whose support is greatly appreciated. You can show your support by liking, sharing, and subscribing. Should you wish to go the extra mile, you can join the Patreon, or even buy some merch from Teespring. Also, don't forget to leave your submissions on the subreddit for future videos. Until next time, don't be a dick. Good night.